You know, guys, I've heard lots of you talk about a Gotham 2.0, Gotham returning, and I've never ever really been on board with that in terms of a believability sense. But Gotham, not the same Gotham, but trust me, a Gotham 2.0 is returning, and would you believe me if I told you it's going to be connected to the cinematic universe that Matt Reeves is creating with the Batman? We need to break this down because we've got a new Gotham Police Department TV show coming. It is happening, guys. It is freaking happening. It is literally happening. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like, I know this isn't Gotham. Just to get, before I fool any of you, this isn't Gotham. Like David Mazouz Gotham with the Jim Gordon. I mean, we may have Jim Gordon in it, but it's not the Fox Gotham that you're knowing, even though that may have inspired this. But I've heard rumors about this for a long time, but everyone disregarded the thought of a Batman cinematic or a Gotham cinematic universe was to ever happen, was just put off way into the rumor section. But wow, it looks like it's happening because Matt Reeves is setting up a the Batman TV show spin-off from the Batman movie, and it's literally going to be Gotham 2.0. So I'm going to read out some details from Variety or Deadline. Like, there's interesting things because there's a couple of extra details in another report because, as you guys know, Jeffrey Wright is playing Gordon in the Batman movie. But let's get into the details, and then I'm going to break this down because, hey, wow, I'm literally still digesting this as I'm speaking to you guys. HBO Max is giving a series commitment to a drama set in the Gotham Police Department from Matt Reeves and Terence Winter, Variety has learned. The untitled series will be set in the world Reeves is creating for the new feature film The Batman, with the intent being to launch a new Batman universe across multiple platforms. It is said to build on the film's examination of the anatomy of corruption in Gotham City. It is the first project announced under Reeves' new overall deal with Warner Brothers Television Group. So from what you can take from that, that's Gotham 2.0, except it's now being added and connected to the cinematic universe, or I guess new canon, or like separate thing that the Batman movie is in, because as we all know, Robert Pattinson's Batman isn't the Ben Affleck Batman. But that doesn't mean that there isn't going to be this own pocket universe moving forward for DC with stuff like this. And also, it really does sound like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like DC's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because as we know, even though towards the end, a lot of it wasn't acknowledged by the MCU, even though they could have easily done that, it feels like DC is going to really capitalize. It's like, imagine Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I know a lot of you are fans, but imagine proper acknowledgements, maybe a proper connected universe to the Batman movie that we're getting next year, and that is this. So moving onwards, Matt Reeves had this to say for himself: this is an amazing opportunity to not only expand the vision of the world I am creating in the film, but to explore it in the kind of depth and detail that only a long-form format can afford. And getting to work with the incredibly talented Terence Winter, who has written so insightfully and powerfully about worlds of crime and corruption, is an absolute dream. And that makes me very excited because obviously we don't have a trailer, we don't even have clips, we barely have the bare minimum of a peek into Matt Reeves' Gotham. But with the focus on it being a very noir, proper gritty, almost Batman the Animated Series-esque kind of feel to the crime that is really going on, it's like, think Gotham, but a lot more, I don't know, rustic in a way, a lot more, I don't know, noir, I guess, a lot more criminal. Don't forget, Gotham was meant to be an actual police drama show, a cop show with Jim Gordon and Harvey, but like, as we all know, it kind of evolved itself to introduce Bruce's story into it, Selina's. Every one of those characters wasn't meant to be in it as much as what it turned into. So this is like the original vision for Gotham, given that it was meant to be basically a Gotham Central show, and now we're actually getting it, but it's connected to a cinematic universe film. Moving forward, Hollywood Reporter also gives details. Now, I can't confirm this just because it's strange to me that Variety and Deadline aren't including this as well, unless I'm blind, but I did go over it a couple of times, in how Jeffrey Wright is apparently going to be reprising his role as Gordon in the show, which would make sense. Jeffrey Wright is, he's a bit of a TV actor as well. He's been in Westworld, absolutely amazing show. I'm sure you've all heard of it at least. He's incredible in that, and that's what really made me fall in love with him being cast as Gordon. We don't know if he's probably not going to be commissioner in the Batman movie, given that Robert Pattinson's Batman is only in Batman Year 2. However, him reprising a role, if that is true, that the transition from him going from film to TV is a normal thing. It's not like Brad Pitt is going to be going from just film to TV. With someone like Jeffrey Wright, he's been in prestigious TV shows such as Westworld. So for him to be in a movie, that fits. But for him to also walk back into the TV realm to support this Gotham PD or Gotham Central would be very, very linked into the world that they're setting up in the movie. Now, having refreshed the page, whether they updated it or not, based on what I just said a couple of seconds ago, apparently they're saying it's still unclear whether Wright and Pattinson would appear in the show. No castings have been made early, which is why I was even surprised to hear that, even though it's not mega surprising because Jeffrey Wright, obviously being on TV and going into the movie, and given when this show is set, building into the world of the actual Batman with that connective tissue, it's not impossible to imagine Jeffrey Wright maintaining his Gordon role, considering we don't even know if he's commissioner. And by the way, with Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman being in Year 2, I wouldn't be surprised if he's still just in the GCPD, not at the higher elevated position of commissioner. But yeah, overall, I'm absolutely on board with this. I'm still digesting, as I kind of keep saying, but it's really not surprising at the same time, because building this larger world out of something that Matt Reeves is carefully, obviously curated with, what he wanted to do with building this whole universe up, whilst all of that Ben Affleck kind of stuff was going on. He went to Warner Brothers, and I'm paraphrasing here because this is something he said before, but not accurately so, that he wanted to make the movie. He's fine with that, but if he's going to do it, he's going to do it his own way. And normally, these days with creative vision for directors being kind of disregarded, that's why we got the Snyder cut now. People want the Ayer cut, the Ayer cut, whatever way you want to put that, for Suicide Squad. So with him, he just wanted to build and do Batman his way, a new fresh way apparently, and Warner Brothers gave that to him. So this is going to be a very carefully curated, structured universe, as I said. So expanding upon that isn't necessarily a money grab in my opinion. It's kind of like, whoa, as people are pointing out, that it could be like a DC's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. situation. Whether Jeffrey Wright does reprise his role from the Batman as James Gordon, whether he's just commissioner, which I highly doubt it considering Batman's in Year 2, and it doesn't matter, because you can get seriously good stories out of a PD, or Gotham Central, Gotham PD, and that's been proven in the comic books. And with like the Gotham Central comic as well, it had all of that story to it without leaning on Batman at all. Like, he was barely in it, if at all, like in the background, not remotely concentrate on, which leads me to the larger question of how will this fit in with the timeline of the Batman? Because you have to think, obviously, the Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman, is in Year 2. One of the many reasons of him even being inspired to put on that cowl was to obviously fight the corruption and crime in Gotham that is very much so happening in a Year 2 Batman career. Like, he's still got ages to go. Right now, Gotham is a mega cesspool in the Batman 2021, for sure. So obviously the show could work in the past, but that's a bit too Gotham-y, and if it's meant to go alongside this kind of cinematic universe that Matt Reeves is building with the Batman 2021, it would make more sense, I think, to put it alongside the movie. That way you can have Jeffrey Wright coming in, obviously, without having to make him younger or whatever. That way as well, you could reference to the film's events. That way as well, you could have Robert Pattinson's Batman come in, but I really wouldn't expect that. However, you would have references, for example, of police officers referencing to, oh, is Jim Gordon working with the Bat? Or something like that. Do you know what I mean? That connective tissue to the current timeline of Matt Reeves' 2021 movie would be brilliant. They could do so much with that. I really don't think they should go in the past like Gotham, because yeah, you could still set up and have this examination of the anatomy of the criminal corruption of Gotham, as they pointed out, through, doing a show in the past. But I think they will have a lot more going for them if they do it in present day. I mean, for crying out loud, Batman 2021 will have a brand new-esque Batman flying around Gotham City, and apparently all he's run into by that point is some crime families, a few drug busts, and his first big match in the Rogues Gallery is the Riddler. So this guy is in a city of outnumbered crime against him. So I think the TV show, considering it's about the GCPD, will be best served alongside that as I keep saying, a lot more opportunities that way. To all of you Gotham haters, which, you know, I respect, you know, some people love it, some people hate it, some people just whatever. This is your chance to get a better Gotham show. As already said, like, Gotham was originally meant to be that, but it kind of, you know, evolved with all the other things it could do through setting up the backstories of the other characters and stuff. However, this is your chance of within itself to even be a higher caliber project within its own right, because this will have a higher budget for sure than Fox's Gotham. I think they're going to pour everything into this being successful, especially as, you know, it's looking at the lines and walking the line of the movie cinematic universe. You don't want an embarrassing production coming out of something that's literally canonically connected to Matt Reeves's Batman movies. That would be a big no-no and a big fail. So I think coming from HBO Max, considering what they've got in the pipeline with many shows like The Green Lanterns, frickin' Stranger's Adventures, there's so much, and now we're getting a canonical show, so hopefully this will be, if you didn't like Gotham before, this will be your new Gotham. Not that Gotham before was bad, I was clearly a fan of it. But now we have a chance to have a much more higher budget, really noir-esque driven, bird's eye view take of this world. Not that, I feel like Gotham, the TV show before this, did a great job with its corruption and aesthetic of Gotham, but clearly Matt Reeves has got a very focused vision here, and I can't wait to see what comes out of this project. And you know I'll be doing reviews on this. Of course I will be. Cliff Notes, meant to be the Gotham, the TV show was always meant to be higher production, higher budget, connected to the movie, adding more lore within that of itself is amazing. We get so much more of this Gotham City than what we're going to see in the Batman. And that's very interesting. This could open so many doorways, slight little backstories, Easter eggs to other villains that Batman hasn't even faced up against yet. I mean, when this TV show comes out, it's another question. It could happen by the time the second movie ends, for all we know. But either way, there's all these other Easter eggs and characters that they could fit in a similar way that the Gotham TV show did, except not in the past, but in present day. Anyway, though, guys, what do you think of Gotham 2.0 coming from Matt Reeves, connected to the Batman 2021? Are you all for this? Would you have rathered a Gotham reboot? I mean, I think you will understand where this is going. And, you know, this isn't meant to be a clone of Gotham. It's meant to be Gotham Central, basically, for the comic book made into an actual live-action show, except connected to the Batman that Matt Reeves is creating. I read all of your comments, so I will be reading all of them, dying to know what you're thinking about this. If you want to talk to me personally about it, head to my Discord server. The links to that is in the video description. And also, why not like this video? This is something to be excited about. This is a major win for Bat Family fans. But I'm gonna have to love you and leave you now, guys. Edit this video, so let's get some hype for Gotham PD, Gotham Central, I don't even know. And I'll see you all in the next Bat video, I guess. Goodbye.